I'm Amber Renee, and let's talk about how to embody your dark feminine energy. First, let's talk about what dark feminine energy is. So we all have different energies within us. Light, dark, light energy tends to be very easy for a lot of people to embody. Like, think about love and light. It's very heart-centered. It's the dark feminine energy that most women avoid going deep with and activating within them. As a society, we have a tendency to avoid things that are deeper, darker in the unconscious, which to me, dark feminine energy is the representation of everything forbidden, hidden, and taboo that's in the unconscious, that's in our bodies, that is considered darker, more erotic. To me, the dark feminine is the embodiment of our eroticism, our sexuality, our darkness, the parts of ourselves that are not as easy to embrace or love or accept. Anything that's in the unconscious, anything that's considered taboo or forbidden, desires, passion, lust, our power, our repressed emotions like rage and grief and jealousy, anything that we have a tendency to avoid or shame or judge as a society or just individually, things that we're afraid to feel. To me, the dark feminine often gets depicted as just this moody, dark aesthetic, which I love and I'm here for. I love a Pinterest board, mood board of all the fashion and aesthetics that to me very visually represent what I also feel internally, matches the dark feminine, but it's so much deeper than that. The dark feminine is not dark psychology tricks and manipulation tactics to manipulate or ensnare men. I love working with my clients around decentering men in their dark feminine energy work, because at the core of the dark feminine is your power, your freedom, your eroticism. It is the full reclamation of everything that society says that you should not be or express. So our emotions, our sexuality, our desires for money, for sex, for life. So every time I see videos that are about embody your dark feminine energy to manipulate a man or attract a man or magnetize a man, yes, the dark feminine is magnetism, and it can include shadow sides. Like anything, dark feminine energy has an integrated, conscious, embodied version, and then it also has an unconscious, unintegrated version that includes things like manipulation. We own all of it in my work. And after a decade of personally and professionally working with the dark feminine and supporting over 1,700 women in reclaiming their full power through money, sex, and the dark feminine, here's what I'm seeing. The dark feminine is activating on a whole new level, especially with the world literally being on fire and all of the things that are happening politically. Women all over the world are awakening or deepening their connection to the dark feminine, and the witches are rising. We will no longer be compliant, subservient good girls. And to me, the dark feminine is like, fuck that. I will not be submissive and subservient unless it is a conscious, consensual, desired BDSM agreement, which I'm very much into kink, and I weave that into my work with my clients. So if you're drawn to this video, you're drawn to the dark feminine, it's because you're being initiated. You are being called forth. It's not a coincidence. It is time for you to embody all of the things that you have been taught to repress, fear, that have been oppressed in women by the patriarchy, by society. Our desires, our passion, our unconscious, our sexuality and eroticism, our power, our freedom, our witchy powers, our emotions, our rage, our lust, our jealousy, our vengefulness, our seduction, our ability to command what we desire into existence, life, death, sex, birth, rebirth cycles. To embrace your dark feminine energy is a descent into the underworld, into the unconscious, into the erotic, into the deeper, darker layers of your body. Because to me, in terms of our actual physical body, the dark feminine for me and for a lot of my clients, we access it through the lower body, through the womb, if you have one, anatomical and or energetic, through the pussy, through your hips, through the lower portion of your body, which again, this part of our body for us as women is filled with a lot of shame and fear and repression. Your dark feminine energy is the doorway into your deepest power, potential, freedom, magnetism, and expression as a woman. How do you embody dark feminine energy in your everyday life? How do you awaken it in the first place? And then how do you bring it into your everyday life? I'm going to share the 4 tips I always give to my clients. These are all based on my own personal journey as well, as someone that's been connected to and a straight up fucking embodiment of the dark feminine for almost 11 years now. Let's dive into the 4 tips. 1, do a daily erotic embodiment practice to awaken and embody your dark feminine energy from within. Because we don't just want you to have an intellectual understanding of the dark feminine. We want this to be in your body, ingrained in your cells, in your nervous system. We want this to be something that you're not just thinking about, but you live this. You are a walking, talking, breathing, dancing, eating, fucking, living embodiment of the dark feminine. It just exudes from you. It's second nature. You don't have to think about it. It just is who you are and how you express, how you move, how you eat, how you dance, how you fuck, how you create, how you move from that energy in your everyday life, how you set boundaries, how you share your desires, all of it. All the things you would do in your everyday life can come from that dark feminine energy. This particular tip is the most important because it is the actual embodiment of the dark feminine energy. And the other 3 tips that I'm going to share actually come a lot easier when you're already doing this, because we want you to be in your authentic expression of the dark feminine in this particular season of your life. And there are limitless personas, flavors, moods, textures, archetypes that you can play with in the dark feminine. I'm actually working on a quiz that will be coming out in the next few months around what dark feminine archetype are you being called to work with right now that you can then integrate into your life. What I teach my clients, and I actually have a 15-minute dark feminine ritual that you can download for free, is to embody the dark feminine from within using breath, touch, sound, movement, and circulating erotic energy. So the dark feminine is not just something that you put on an outfit or you do your makeup a certain way, like siren eyes makeup, which I love all of it, right? And you're gonna see some of these tips have to do with a little bit of that expression wise. But the most important thing is that it's coming from within you. So that means doing a practice where you're connecting deeper, where you're going into your actual body where this energy lives and resides and tends to lay dormant for many women because of shame, because of fear of not feeling safe to live in this energy, fear of our own power, our own desires, our own eroticism, being shamed and judged, especially if you come from a religious background. And also the patriarchy just hates powerful, turned on, well-fucked, rich, desirous, passionate women embodied in their full power, freedom, and expression. So I recommend setting the space, giving yourself 15 minutes a day. You can press play on the free ritual. You can download that below for free. And it is the practice that I have done for years. I have so many different variations of it that I do. Eventually you can just freestyle it depending on your mood, because there will be different flavors for every different day. One day you might be feeling more like femme fatale. Another day you might be like, I'm fucking channeling Lilith and I want to eat men. I don't want to be subservient to you. I want to be on top. Sometimes it's like a dominatrix energy. Sometimes it's a seductress. Sometimes it's a siren or a succubus. Sometimes it's just pure feminine rage. Venom, claws, fangs, hissing, growling, like you just want to burn it all the fuck down. Tip number 2 is to play with style, fashion, makeup, adornments, and aesthetic. And again, this is so much easier to naturally come through when you're already connecting to the dark feminine energy through regular embodiment practices. Let your dark feminine aesthetic come through, and you can absolutely get inspired by Pinterest boards, by people that you're inspired by that kind of ooze and exude that dark feminine energy. I find that different dark feminine archetypes for me might have a tendency or a liking of different things, but I do tend to lean very much into the dark feminine as my like main aesthetic. As you can see here, my Lilith altar, what I'm wearing, my snake earrings, my black silk, my red nails, these are all things to me that are just who I am, but happen to also be an expression of the dark feminine. So you can play with makeup, you can play with jewelry, you can play with fashion and style. And you know, when I'm in a more dominatrix persona, it might look like leather pants and a flogger. If I'm in more of my like femme fatale, it might be like a wide kind of floppy black hat. Think about like a rich widow kind of energy with like a black robe and a glass of red wine. So I love playing with this and just letting it come through my everyday life. It just makes it so much more fun. The third tip can also help you with this, which is to draw inspiration from or play with a real or fictional archetype or persona. Looking to movies, music, art. Let them be your muse to inspire you. What are some fictional or real characters or people that represent the dark feminine to you? I love Morticia Adams, Jennifer from Jennifer's Body, Betty Page, Dita Von Teese, Lana Del Rey gives me dark feminine energy in her music. There's so many different ways to play with this. So let them inspire you. Let them be your muse, which leads me to the fourth tip, which is also get inspired from music, books, art, poetry. Use music as a way of like almost creating an association with the dark feminine. I have several dark feminine playlists that I have that are inside of my dark feminine course that inspire different flavors of my dark feminine, whether it's more rageful or it's more seductive or it's more powerful and commanding like the dominatrix. What books, what music that when you hear that song, it just drops you into your dark feminine instantly. Certain aesthetics, certain things, like when I see some of my ritual items, when I pour a glass of wine, when I buy myself flowers, when I put on certain jewelry, when I put on certain articles of clothing, or I smell a certain incense, candle, or perfume, I instantly just drop into my dark feminine energy. If you're like, yes, thank you, more please, I want to go deeper with my dark feminine energy, sign up for my free erotic embodiment ritual to awaken, activate, and embody your dark feminine energy in just 15 minutes a day. The link will be below.